Let me tell you something powerful today. Attitude is more important than skill, because skill is what you can do, but attitude is what you will do. Skill is developed by practice. Attitude is developed by perspective. There are people with more talent than you, more connections than you, more education than you, and yet you'll watch them struggle. Why? Because skill without the right spirit leads to sabotage. You can teach a person how to sell, how to lead, how to build, but you cannot teach them how to believe. That's something that comes from inside. Attitude is more important than skill, because skill alone will never determine how far a person can go. A person with the right attitude can learn any skill, master any craft, and rise from any level, while a person with a poor attitude will find a way to lose even the best opportunities. Attitude is not just about being positive. It is about how you choose to perceive life, respond to challenges, and handle pressure when things do not go your way. Skill can open the door, but attitude keeps you in the room. People are drawn not just to competence, but to character. You can have the sharpest mind, the most refined expertise, and the most impressive RA summe, but if your attitude repels others, you will eventually find yourself isolated from the very opportunities your skill once attracted. There are people who spend years perfecting their craft but never elevate their mindset, and that is why they stay stuck. They become victims of comparison and entitlement, thinking talent guarantees success. But the truth is, skill may create attention, yet attitude creates connection. Skill may get you noticed, but attitude gets you remembered. When you walk into a room with humility, confidence, and gratitude, people feel it. They may not even understand why they are drawn to you, but they sense your energy, and that energy is your attitude in motion. You can fake politeness for a while, but you cannot fake genuine gratitude and purpose. Eventually, the real you shows up, and your attitude either multiplies your blessings or diminishes them. Your mindset determines your motion. Every thought you entertain is a seed you plant in the soil of your destiny. Negative thoughts create invisible chains that hold you back, no matter how talented you are. Positive thoughts, rooted in faith and expectancy, propel you forward, even when circumstances suggest otherwise. You can have skill and still be stagnant if your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and frustration. But when you align your thoughts with purpose, when you decide to see problems as preparation, everything begins to shift. Life starts responding differently to someone whose inner world is aligned with growth and gratitude. You begin to attract solutions instead of complaining about problems. Because the direction of your thoughts determines the direction of your life. Faith and gratitude attract favor in a way that skill never can. Skill may impress people, but faith impresses heaven. Gratitude is the language of increase, and when you speak it, doors open that logic cannot explain. You might not be the most talented, but when you walk in gratitude, people will go out of their way to help you. Faith says, I will take the step even when I cannot see the staircase. Skill says, I will only move when I know how. One keeps you waiting, the other keeps you walking. That is why people of faith often surpass people of knowledge. They are not limited by what they can do. They are fueled by what they believe. Your attitude decides how high your potential can rise. Skill is measured by what you have learned, but attitude is measured by what you are willing to learn. A teachable spirit is more valuable than a trained hand. Someone with a great attitude will keep improving even if they start at the bottom, while someone with a bad attitude will resist growth even when they are given every advantage. The difference between those who rise and those who remain is rarely talent, it is teachability. A great attitude turns every challenge into a classroom, every setback into a lesson, every failure into a seed for success. People who win consistently are not the ones who never fall, but the ones who never stop learning from every fall. A bad attitude can bankrupt great ability. There are gifted people who destroy opportunities with pride, ego, and negativity. They think their talent makes them untouchable, but arrogance blinds them to their own decline. When you become ungrateful, your gift begins to wither. When you become unteachable, your growth begins to die. It does not matter how skilled you are. If people dread being around you, you have already lost. A negative attitude poisons the atmosphere, while a good one purifies it. Your energy affects the people around you, and those people determine your opportunities. That is why success is not just about performance. It is about presence. The spirit you carry is more powerful than the skill you display. The right attitude turns problems into promotions. Challenges will come to test your patience, your faith, and your resilience, but each one carries a hidden opportunity for those who can see it. A bad attitude says, why is this happening to me? But a good attitude says, what is this trying to teach me? When you shift from complaining to learning, your whole experience changes. The same obstacle that breaks one person becomes a breakthrough for another, depending entirely on their attitude. Life rewards those who can remain calm in the storm, who can see purpose in pain, and who keep moving when everyone else stops. The right attitude does not remove challenges, it transforms how you face them. And that transformation becomes the foundation of every great success story. Your mindset determines your motion because the way you think shapes the way you move through life. Every action begins with a thought, and every result is the harvest of a mental seed you planted long before you saw it. You cannot move higher than your thoughts allow, and you cannot go further than your belief permits. The direction of your life is simply the reflection of your dominant mindset. If your thoughts are filled with fear, doubt, and excuses, your steps will always follow that pattern. But if your thoughts are grounded in faith, vision, and confidence, your motion becomes unstoppable. Many people think success begins with opportunity, but it actually begins with perspective. The same circumstance that discourages one person can drive another to greatness, not because the situation is different, but because the attitude is. There are people who have all the talent, all the training, all the skill, but they never rise because their thinking is still small. They are trapped in mental ceilings built by their own doubts. They look at the mountain and see a problem, while someone with the right mindset sees a platform for growth. Your mindset determines whether you see limits or lessons, problems or possibilities. When your thoughts are full of fear, even opportunity feels like a threat. But when your mind is renewed with faith, even setbacks feel like setups. Every person has motion in life, but not everyone has progress. Because motion without mindset is just movement in circles. The right mindset doesn't just get you moving, it gives your motion direction and purpose. You can have the skills of a champion, but the mindset of a quitter, and your skill will not save you. Skill teaches you how to do a thing, but mindset teaches you why to keep doing it when the applause stops. Most people lose not because they lack ability, but because they lack belief. They quit mentally long before they ever fail physically. The mind gives up before the body does. A strong mindset makes you consistent, and consistency is the bridge between potential and performance. The person who keeps showing up with the right attitude eventually wins over the one who only shows up when it feels easy. Success belongs to the one who moves with conviction, even when conditions are not convenient. Your mindset is the engine of your future. When you program it with purpose, everything in your life begins to align with that direction. People with a growth mindset don't wait for conditions to be perfect. They start where they are and build as they go. They understand that perfection is not the goal. Progress is. When your mind is fixed on progress, you stop judging yourself by the scoreboard and start measuring yourself by the steps you take. Every time you choose faith over fear, gratitude over grumbling, effort over excuses, you are strengthening the muscle of your mindset. Over time, that strength becomes momentum. And momentum creates motion that cannot be stopped by external resistance. The truth is, you can only move at the speed of your belief. The reason many people move slow in life is not because of lack of opportunity, but because they hesitate internally. They keep questioning their worth, doubting their ability, and fearing rejection. And those thoughts become invisible chains that hold their feet still. When your belief increases, your hesitation decreases. When your mind expands, your motion accelerates. You begin to take action without needing approval. You begin to walk by faith, not by sight. The greatest movement in life doesn't start with new circumstances. It starts with a new level of thinking. If your mind doesn't move first, your life never will. Your mindset determines how you handle setbacks. When you face a closed door, your mind can either label it as rejection or redirection. People with a weak mindset take obstacles personally. They see them as proof they're not good enough. But people with a strong mindset see those same obstacles as preparation for what's next. They don't ask, why me? They ask, what is this trying to teach me? They understand that pressure is part of the process. Diamonds are not made in comfort. They're made under heat. And every challenge that comes against you is meant to polish you, not punish you. The right mindset makes you unbreakable because it trains you to see purpose in pain. Every great achievement begins as a thought that refused to die. The person who keeps believing when others stop trying eventually becomes unstoppable. Thoughts are powerful because they shape your expectations, and your expectations shape your actions. If you expect failure, you'll act timidly. If you expect favor, you'll act boldly. That's why you can't let fear be the loudest voice in your head. Whatever voice you listen to will lead your life. The mind is a battlefield, and whoever wins there wins everywhere. Renew your thinking daily, because every day the world tries to program you with doubt. Protect your mind like treasure, because that's exactly what it is. Your mindset is the foundation of every move you make. And your motion will always follow the direction of your dominant thought. Faith and gratitude attract favor because they create the atmosphere where blessings can grow. Skill can take you to the top, but faith keeps you there when challenges come. Gratitude opens the door to opportunities that logic cannot explain. The world teaches that success comes from hard work alone, but there are people who work hard and never advance because their hearts are filled with frustration and fear instead of faith and thankfulness. When you live with faith, you expect good things to happen even when nothing looks good. When you live with gratitude, you see good things even in difficult moments. Together, they form the soil where favor takes root and multiplies. Faith says, I believe even if I cannot see. And gratitude says, I am thankful even before it happens. When those two mindsets collide, miracles become normal. Faith changes your focus. It takes your eyes off your limitations and fixes them on possibilities. A person of faith is not moved by what they see because they understand that sight only shows conditions, not conclusions. The moment you start believing that something greater is working in your favor, your energy shifts. You walk differently, talk differently, and attract different results. People are drawn to confidence, but real confidence doesn't come from ego. It comes from faith. You stop chasing approval when you know who you are and what you're called to do. Faith gives you authority to speak to circumstances instead of surrendering to them. It replaces fear with movement, worry with wisdom, and panic with purpose. While others are waiting for the perfect moment, faith takes the first step and trusts that the next one will appear. Gratitude turns every moment into an opportunity for growth. It doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It means recognizing value even in imperfection. When you are grateful, you stop complaining about what you lack and start celebrating what you have. Complaining blocks blessings because it focuses your attention on what's missing, while gratitude multiplies blessings because it focuses your heart on what's working. The moment you choose gratitude, your perception changes. You begin to see the small wins, the quiet progress, and the invisible protection that carried you through situations that could have destroyed you. Gratitude trains your mind to expect increase. It shifts your vibration, your words, and your actions, creating space for more good to enter your life. Faith and gratitude together attract favor because they build trust. Favor flows where faith grows, and gratitude keeps that favor flowing. There are doors that cannot be opened by talent, only by trust. There are opportunities that don't come through competition, but through character. When you walk in faith and gratitude, people can feel it. They see someone who is grounded, dependable, and full of positive expectancy. That kind of energy draws opportunities. When you stop worrying about the outcome and start focusing on the purpose, favor begins to follow you. It's not magic, it's mindset. The person who believes that life is working for them, not against them, will always find themselves in the right place at the right time. Faith teaches you that lack is not permanent. It reminds you that delay is not denial. When doors close, faith doesn't panic, it prepares. It looks at every obstacle as a lesson, not a limitation. Gratitude adds power to that faith because it celebrates even the waiting season. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Gratitude asks, what is this teaching me? That shift in attitude opens the way for new understanding, new strength, and new opportunities. People who live with faith and gratitude do not waste energy on resentment or envy because they understand that everyone has a different path and a different pace. They don't chase favor, they cultivate it from within. Faith is a magnet for miracles because it keeps you moving even when the path is unclear. Gratitude amplifies that movement by keeping your heart light. When faith gives you the courage to act, gratitude gives you the joy to endure. You can't attract favor when your spirit is heavy with frustration. You can't draw blessings when your mouth is full of complaints. Faith lifts your vision and gratitude lifts your vibration. Together, they turn ordinary moments into divine opportunities. When you choose to believe and to be thankful, you start to notice the small signs of progress that others overlook. You see how closed doors redirected you to better ones, how unanswered prayers protected you, and how every challenge was really preparation for promotion. The atmosphere you carry determines what you attract. A person walking in faith and gratitude carries peace even in pressure. They smile when others frown, they give when others withhold, and they grow when others give up. That difference doesn't go unnoticed. People are drawn to them, opportunities flow toward them, and life seems to cooperate with them because their spirit is aligned with abundance. Faith gives you the boldness to believe you deserve good things, and gratitude reminds you to appreciate them when they arrive. Favor isn't luck. It's the natural response to a heart that believes and a mouth that gives thanks. When you live with faith and gratitude, you stop chasing blessings and start becoming the kind of person blessings chase. Your attitude decides how high your potential can rise because the height of your success will always match the depth of your mindset. Skill can get you started, but attitude determines how far you go. When your attitude is right, you can grow through what others go through. You can take losses and still move forward because your inner world is stronger than your outer circumstances. A person with a great attitude doesn't need everything to be perfect. They just need a reason to keep going. They understand that progress is not about perfection, but persistence. Your attitude becomes your atmosphere, and that atmosphere decides whether your potential flourishes or fades. You cannot expect growth while carrying negativity because attitude is the soil where your potential either thrives or dies. A great attitude turns challenges into classrooms. Every failure becomes feedback. Every delay becomes development. And every obstacle becomes an opportunity for growth. People with the right attitude don't run from problems, they learn from them. They don't get bitter, they get better. They use frustration as fuel and setbacks as stepping stones. That's the difference between those who stay stuck and those who rise higher. It's not what happens to you that determines your outcome, it's how you respond to it. You can't always control what you face, but you can always control your attitude toward it. When you choose to respond with faith instead of fear, gratitude instead of grumbling, and calmness instead of chaos, you open the door to new possibilities that others miss. Attitude is the foundation of teachability. A person with skill but no humility will eventually reach a ceiling they can't break. But a person with a learning spirit, even if they start with little, will eventually surpass everyone who thought they already knew it all. The teachable rise because they keep expanding, and their positive attitude attracts mentors, partners, and opportunities. People love working with those who are open, humble, and hungry to learn. Attitude creates access. Skill may get you noticed, but attitude makes people want to help you grow. The moment you stop learning, your potential stops expanding. A great attitude says, I haven't arrived, but I'm becoming. It keeps you curious, grounded, and growing no matter how successful you become. Your attitude affects not just your progress, but the people around you. The energy you bring into a room sets the tone for what happens there. A bad attitude can drain an entire team, while a good one can lift everyone higher. People are naturally drawn to optimism, passion, and integrity. When you walk with confidence and positivity, you inspire others to believe in themselves. Leadership is not just about position, it's about projection. You project strength when your attitude reflects stability. You project hope when your attitude reflects faith. You project greatness when your attitude reflects gratitude. That projection determines how others perceive you and how they respond to you. Your attitude either builds bridges or burns them. A negative attitude blocks blessings. It turns opportunities into obstacles and turns helpers into hurdles. When your perspective is clouded with doubt, envy, or resentment, you can't even recognize the doors that are open for you. Negativity blinds you to possibility. The more you complain, the more you confirm your limitations. But when your attitude is right, your mind starts noticing the things that were always there waiting for you to see them. Suddenly, what once looked impossible now seems achievable. Your potential rises to meet your perspective. That's why gratitude is so powerful. It expands your awareness of what's possible and attracts more reasons to be grateful. A good attitude doesn't deny reality. It redefines it through the lens of hope and faith. Attitude is also the difference between endurance and exhaustion. The same work that drains one person can energize another simply because of how they think about it. A person with a great attitude doesn't say, I have to do this. They say, I get to do this. They understand that effort is a privilege and growth is a gift. That small shift changes everything. When you see your challenges as opportunities to sharpen your character, you no longer feel burdened, you feel built. You stop seeing life as something happening to you and start seeing it as something happening for you. That mindset allows your potential to keep expanding even when the journey gets difficult. Your potential is not limited by your circumstances, it's limited by your outlook. Two people can face the same storm and come out with completely different results because one decided to focus on fear and the other on faith. Your attitude determines which side you fall on. It decides whether you use your pain as an excuse or as a platform. When you believe that everything in your life is preparing you for something greater, you start to rise above the noise and find purpose in every process. The higher your attitude, the higher your altitude. When you elevate your perspective, you elevate your performance. When you raise your thoughts, you raise your results. Potential is not unlocked by perfection, but by perspective, and your perspective is built by the attitude you choose every single day. A bad attitude can bankrupt great ability because talent without character eventually collapses. You can have all the gifts in the world, but if your spirit is filled with arrogance, bitterness, or pride, those gifts will work against you instead of for you. A negative attitude poisons everything it touches. It ruins relationships, destroys trust, and pushes away opportunity. No one wants to work with someone who is constantly complaining, criticizing, or acting like they are above correction. Your ability might get you through the door, but your attitude decides how long you stay there. Skill can make you impressive, but attitude makes you invaluable. When your heart is wrong, even your best efforts lose their power, because success is not just about what you do, it's about how you do it and the spirit behind it. There are people who fail not because they lack talent, because they refuse to humble themselves. They think their gifts make them untouchable. They stop listening, stop learning, and start believing that everyone else is the problem. Pride blinds them to reality, and soon the same gift that once opened doors begins to close them. Pride always precedes the fall because it disconnects you from growth. You cannot improve in any area of life if you already think you know it all. The moment you stop being teachable, you stop being trusted. When people can no longer speak into your life, you begin to drift away from the very things that made you successful in the first place. The more gifted you are, the more dangerous pride becomes because it makes you forget that talent is temporary, but character is forever. A bad attitude also kills momentum. You cannot move forward if you're constantly focused on what went wrong or who to blame. Complaining is a magnet for stagnation. It traps you in cycles of frustration because you keep rehearsing your pain instead of releasing it. You waste energy defending your ego instead of developing your excellence. Every time you choose to complain, you make your problems louder and your solutions smaller. The truth is, growth requires gratitude. You cannot be bitter and blessed at the same time. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's possible. A good attitude fuels progress because it turns every obstacle into motivation. When you stop complaining, you start creating. When you stop blaming, you start building. Negativity is contagious. The wrong attitude doesn't just affect you, it infects everyone around you. In a team, one person's bad energy can ruin the spirit of the whole group. You can feel it when someone walks into a room carrying frustration, entitlement, or resentment. The air changes, the motivation drops, and creativity disappears. People stop giving their best because negativity steals their inspiration. That's why it's so important to guard your energy and surround yourself with people who lift you up instead of dragging you down. A great attitude is not just a personal asset, it's a collective advantage. It builds trust, strengthens unity, and creates a culture where excellence can thrive. A bad attitude, on the other hand, spreads faster than any failure. It eats away at morale and turns potential into problems. There's nothing more dangerous than talent without gratitude. When you start believing that your ability makes you better than others, you lose sight of the purpose behind your gift. Talent is meant to serve, not to show off. The moment you use your ability to elevate yourself instead of to help others, you stop growing. A bad attitude turns success into selfishness. It makes you think the world owes you something, when in reality, success is a responsibility. Gratitude keeps you grounded. It reminds you that every opportunity, every connection, and every breakthrough came through grace and favor, not just skill. Gratitude transforms ability into purpose. It allows you to keep your heart clean while your influence grows. A bad attitude limits vision. It keeps your eyes focused on problems instead of possibilities. When your thoughts are negative, your creativity dries up because negativity narrows your perspective. You stop seeing opportunities because your mind is trapped in offense. Every challenge starts to look like an attack instead of an invitation to rise higher. When your attitude is toxic, your potential becomes trapped inside you. You have the ability to do more, but you can't see past your emotions. A positive attitude expands your vision. It allows you to look beyond what is happening and see what can happen. That vision is what separates people who grow from people who crumble under pressure. Great ability without the right attitude leads to self-sabotage. You can build something powerful and still destroy it with ego, impatience, or disrespect. Many talented people lose their influence not because others were against them, but because their own attitude was. They couldn't handle correction. They couldn't celebrate others, and they couldn't stay humble when success came. Ability without humility creates chaos. The stronger your skill, the greater your need for self-control. If you don't learn to master your emotions will master you. The difference between lasting success and temporary fame is attitude. One attracts trust, the other repels it. One builds legacies, the other burns bridges. A bad attitude is like a leak in the foundation. It doesn't destroy the house immediately, but over time it weakens everything you built with your own hands. The right attitude turns problems into promotions because what you perceive determines what you receive. Every difficulty carries a hidden opportunity, but only the right mindset can see it. Life will always test you with challenges that appear like setbacks, but those challenges are really classrooms designed to develop your strength, discipline, and character. When your attitude is right, you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That single shift transforms your pain into progress. Problems stop being obstacles and start becoming instructions. Every setback comes with a seed of advantage, but that seed only grows in the soil of a positive attitude. What you call a problem, someone else will call preparation. What you call a loss, someone else will call a lesson. The difference isn't in the experience, it's in the attitude that interprets it. When you face adversity, the first thing your attitude controls is your response. You can't control what happens around you, but you can always control what happens within you. A right attitude doesn't deny the challenge. It decides how to face it. When things fall apart, people with the wrong mindset panic and complain, while people with the right mindset stay calm and adjust. They look for the message in the mess and the purpose in the pressure. They understand that storms don't come to destroy them, but to strengthen their foundation. A storm exposes what's weak so it can be rebuilt stronger. The right attitude keeps you from quitting while others give up. It helps you see that resistance is not rejection, it's refinement. You don't grow in comfort. You grow through confrontation, discomfort, and challenge. Every problem has a hidden promotion because challenges reveal qualities you didn't know you had. They bring out creativity, courage, and resilience. Without opposition, you would never develop the strength to hold greater opportunities. The right attitude allows you to find that strength instead of resenting the struggle. When you believe that everything in life is working for your good, even your disappointments become divine direction. That job you lost, that deal that didn't go through, that door that closed, it wasn't punishment, it was positioning. You were being moved from what was convenient to what was necessary. When your attitude is right, you can thank life for the closed doors because you trust that better ones are opening. You stop wasting energy on regret and start focusing on readiness. The right attitude transforms pressure into preparation. Diamonds are formed under pressure, and so are great leaders. When life squeezes you, it reveals what's inside you. If faith is inside, faith will come out. If fear is inside, fear will come out. Pressure doesn't build character, it reveals it. That's why maintaining the right attitude is so critical, because your attitude determines whether pressure polishes you or crushes you. People with a complaining spirit break easily because they focus on the weight instead of the worth. People with the right mindset endure because they focus on what they're becoming, not just what they're facing. You can't avoid the fire, but you can choose to let it refine you instead of consume you. Every great promotion is preceded by a test of perspective, and your attitude decides whether you pass it or repeat it. When you face obstacles, the right attitude helps you turn reaction into reflection. Instead of asking, why me? You start asking, what now? You stop focusing on the pain and start focusing on the purpose. Growth doesn't come from what happens to you, but from how you process it. The difference between those who rise and those who remain is reflection. People with poor attitudes react emotionally and stay stuck in the moment. People with the right attitude pause, learn, and come back stronger. They use every loss as a lesson plan for the next level. They don't waste struggles, they study them. They understand that promotion doesn't come from luck, it comes from preparation. And preparation is the child of the right attitude. Your attitude creates your atmosphere, and your atmosphere attracts your outcome. When you carry faith, optimism, and gratitude, you attract opportunities that match that energy. When you carry bitterness, doubt, or resentment, you repel them. People are drawn to light, not darkness. When your attitude stays positive under pressure, it shows strength and leadership. That's why so many breakthroughs happen right after breakdowns, because the right attitude held steady when everything else was shaking. Life rewards endurance, and endurance is the result of perspective. The moment you stop fighting the process and start flowing with it, you begin to grow faster. The right attitude doesn't remove the problem, but it transforms how you experience it. It makes you solution-oriented instead of complaint-driven. It makes you proactive instead of reactive. It teaches you that everything you face is either a blessing or a lesson, and both lead to growth. Every promotion begins with a problem. Every elevation is disguised as an obstacle. The thing that looks like it's working against you might actually be the thing preparing you. The right attitude turns rejection into redirection, criticism into confirmation, and pain into power. You stop running from hard things and start running toward growth. You learn to bless the process even when you don't understand it, because when your attitude is right, nothing you go through is wasted. And every challenge becomes another step toward the next level of your destiny. Skill may get you the job, but attitude will get you the calling. Skill may earn you money, but attitude earns you meaning. So, build your skill, yes, but guard your spirit even more. Because when your attitude is right, your altitude is unlimited.